Welcome to episode 3 of Orlando Out of Context. I'm Brian.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we have two guests. We have Josh and Kim joining us, and they're with All of Me Fitness. I got that right?
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to talk to them today about fitness. They have their own lifestyle fitness coaching brand that they have here in Orlando, and they are Stephanie's trainers. So, or really Kim is Stephanie's trainer. And
Kim is my trainer, but you know, I've adopted Josh as well. It's kind of a 2-for-1 package.
It is a 2-for-1 deal.
It's great. It's a 2-for-1 deal because you get the two brains. They get to bounce ideas off of each other.
Awesome.
And,
this is true.
You know, voice to each other and complain about me and try to figure out how to make it work.
I guess 2 trainers is better than 1.
Always, yeah.
So Stephanie, start us off with, I know you last year started your fitness journey, so tell us a little bit about how you got to meet Kim.
In January of 2017, I decided that I wanted to lose weight. You know, I just got to a point, you know, everyone thinks you need to it's hard to find the motivation, but it's like inside you have to be the one that's ready. It can't be your boyfriend, it can't be your mom, it can't be your doctor, it can't be anybody telling you. It's like something that you just have to decide in your mind and be ready to go for. So I found this app, and I believe it was called Fitbet, where you like go online and you on this app and
like a bet?
Yes,
not
like
bet.
a bet.
Bet.
Bet. So you basically pay, I think, like $30, and there's multiple groups. You can join a group, you pay $30, you like take a picture with like a word that they give you and the scale, and there's, depending on the group that you join, it's like different goals. So whoever meets their goal during that challenge time, so I think the one I joined was like some New Year's resolution type thing. So it was from January 1st to the 31st. And whoever makes the goal gets a cut of the money. So say 100 people join and only 10 people make the goal, then the 10 people split the money that was made from everyone that joined the group.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
So I was like, let me start with this. That was like my first step. And then I was like going to the gym at my apartment and just doing endless cardio and eating 1 salad a day and eating 2 Slim Fast shakes. And I did this for January, February, March, April, May, June, July, like 8 months.
I remember, because then you kind of got to a place where it kind of just
I was
stopped.
losing like 3-4 pounds a week. I was loving it. Everyone was loving me. They were like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, tell me. But then I got to a point where I was like not losing any weight, and I was just feeling like, ugh. So Brian and I went on a little tour of the gym that's near us. And, you know, I was inquiring for personal training, and that's where I was directed to Kim. And so I've been training with her since October. And, you know, I still have, you know, definitely have some boundaries. Things aren't still going the way that I want them to go. But, you know, Kim has directed me to an awesome lifestyle, like just motivating me, like letting me know what's, you know, what I was doing was like not really good, like crash dieting, like just doing endless amounts of cardio is just not always the way to do it. I mean, sometimes you have to find a step, whichever step that may be for you. If that's it, that's good, but you know, you have to seek a professional at some point. And Kim was that professional for me.
Yeah.
So welcome.
That's how we met.
And that's where our love affair started, for sure. So, just to get a little bit of, you know, just to get things rolling, we just wanted to ask you guys just some fun, like, lighthearted questions. So since we're going to be talking about lifestyle stuff, what is your guilty pleasure? Kim, you go.
Oh,
you can start
I
first.
have a guilty pleasure. Chocolate.
Chocolate?
100%. Chocolate is my guilty pleasure. But, you know, Josh and I are firm believers that it's all about living a healthy lifestyle, and signs of a healthy eater is being able to eat those foods in moderation. So, I guess I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure because I don't feel guilty when I have it.
Because you can have it.
Yeah.
So dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate.
Oh, milk chocolate, 100%.
Okay.
Ice cream, preferably.
Not Halo Top, the full fatty
no,
stuff.
not Halo Top. It has to be the Ben and Jerry's.
Okay, so while we're on the top of Halo Top, so what's your thoughts of Halo Top?
We love Halo Top. We think it's a good supplement for the everyday ice cream like Ben and Jerry's. It's half the calories. You actually have some protein in there. For those ice cream lovers, it's a great way to still get some type of snack that has a little bit of a sweet taste to kind of appease those cravings.
Yeah, but I think, like she said, moderation is the key, right? Yeah. There's this concept called the healthy halo, and it's people put these healthy labels on food and think that it means that they can just eat as much as they want.
Right.
You know, so I think for me, you have to have some self-awareness with knowing yourself, you know what I mean? So like if you know like, yo, this is my guilty pleasure or my trigger food, and if I have a little bit of it, it's just gonna, I won't be able to stop it until it stops me. So I think you gotta be real with yourself. You gotta be real with yourself, and like, you know, that's something I've been working on. But like, I know myself. I know that, and I get mad at her when she brings stuff in the house because like I'm gonna eat it. Like there's no like if I see it, it's gonna get ate. You know, so like.
Because your diets are different.
Yes, they're very different.
Yeah, our diets we have different goals at the moment, so it's always a little challenging.
That's something I found that was very easy for me. Once I got deep into my diet, I was in the midst of a breakup, so I was living alone. Well, then I moved in with Brian, and you know, being alone really helps you like gain control. Like it helps you like just have tunnel vision to your goals because nobody else is like, I know people can lift you up, but people can also drag you down.
So she's basically saying, I brought shit into the house.
You dragged her down.
But no, at the same time, his goals were kind of in line with mine. That's why he came to the gym with me that day. He just decided to go with a different gym that's closer to his office. Right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we started food prep together, and we started, you know, going in that direction.
Journey. Yeah, our journey's kind of aligned there. Okay, Josh, so same question. So what's your guilty pleasure?
Yeah. So pretty much,
Kim's thinking about
like everything. I mean, everything. Like, I mean, I don't. I eat it all. You
anything
know, like,
that has
anything
calories.
That's
okay, so stop, like macaroni and cheese or pizza,
fast food.
Everything.
I would say probably. Gummy worms are just
gummy worms.
Yeah, with like the sugar on it. I'll tear them up.
Yeah, like the sour,
like sour
ones.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah. That's the whole point of the question. Just kind of have some fun with it. Okay, so next question is, if you're stranded on an island, what three things must you have? Josh, you go first.
If I'm stranded
fire question.
What 3 things? Whoa. What do I need? Shoot, that is a good one. What 3 things I need? I gotta think about this. I guess Kim would be one.
Oh yeah,
finally,
that would be cool. Definitely food. Wait, can I have that?
Sure, you can have that.
You can have food.
Kim, food. Maybe gummy worms.
Gummy worms? Because we're not putting gummy worms in the category of food.
Well,
that's a separate.
So separate
thing.
from so you're okay.
Yeah.
All right, Kim, you.
Let me see, juicy kiwi and chocolate.
You don't even take Josh.
Well, he took me.
You took the dog.
But he took me. So doesn't that can I not use him as mine since I got taken with him?
That is not how it works.
Oh well.
Damn,
okay, I'll substitute the chocolate for Josh, and I'll find some chocolate on the.
You don't have a favorite dog?
No, I have to take both of them.
Okay, so Juicy and Kiwi are the name of your
Juicy and Kiwi are the name of my dogs.
I thought you were talking about candy or something.
Yeah.
Nope, the dogs.
Like, nobody knows.
No, I would have to have them there with me.
All right.
So, when you were growing up, like when you were a young child before you entered high school, what were your dreams? Like, what was the thing you dreamed about being?
A singer.
Yeah.
You wanted to be a singer too?
No, I was confirming your dream. I think I wanted to be like an NFL player or something like that.
An NFL player?
Yeah, football player.
So then how, as you grew up, what made you decide that you wanted to transition into being, you know, a personal trainer, a fitness guru, like a health and fitness person, and you know, living a healthy lifestyle and encouraging others?
Yeah. Well, for me,
because in the world that we live in, that's kind of a big decision. I feel like it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do, stay consistent, and, you know, diets are something that we all do. People lose weight, gain weight, get into the gym, get out of the gym. How you know, what made you want to stick with that and have it be your main thing in life?
Yeah. So pretty much, I think my goal never changed up until
I guess being an
like
athlete,
late college. Yeah, I was pretty much an athlete my whole life, so I've always been around fitness. You know, during early high school, late middle school, that's when I really got focused with it, and I wanted to just be the best, learn as much as I can. And pretty much leading up to college, when I went to University of Central Florida, I walked on to the football team, and that year, kind of leading up to it, was probably like the most workout or the most knowledge and work that I've put in ever, you know, because it was really just like tunnel vision. I wanted to do it. And pretty much the first year I walked on, I had an injury and I had a torn labrum, so they told me I couldn't play. So I had to do it again. I had to, you know, put all that work back in to recover and then be ready again to try out. And then the second year, they told me that my eligibility ran out. So it was two.
What does that mean?
That means, so when you so here's one thing for Division I sports, which is, you know, kind of like the top level collegiate sports, they have rules in place, and pretty much I didn't understand the rule. They have a 5-year rule, so that means whenever you start college full time, your 5-year clock starts, and I wasn't aware that it started yet, you know, so. You know, that's pretty much what happened. You know, during my second tryout, I was with the team for a couple months, and they told me, hey, you know, your eligibility ran out. You can't play anymore. You know, you can be on the team if you want to, but you can't play.
Your time clock starts the minute you become a full-time college student.
Yeah. And my first year of college, I was a full-time student. And
so if he would have started part-time his first year, he would have been okay.
I'd have been all right. Yep. But during that process,
doing what you're doing is a good way to pivot. Like, look at the situation and say, well, you know, I guess I can't be an athlete, so let's see what I can do.
Yeah. Well, during that process too, we both were going to school for physical therapy, so we wanted to be doctors of physical therapy, and so I kind of literally the last year, senior year, I decided to switch paths because number one, I honestly didn't want to be a professional player, football player anymore, because when I got on the team, you know, I realized it wasn't fun anymore. Yeah. Like it was not fun. It's so a job.
Serious.
Like
it's like
it's so serious. It's like, you know, and I was injured the whole time, so it was just like, you know.
It's like a running joke between Kim and I that I'm just like obsessed with watching like Instagrams of like NFL players like and getting hype over their workouts.
She'll send me like their videos like every other week. I'll get a new video.
Yeah. But it's like so intense, and it's like another level that we don't even know about. Like, I think that I'm fit and I go to the gym, you know, a lot, but they're like all day, every day, and then just doing all these like crazy things to recover, like all these, you know, treatments and these expensive ice baths, cryogenic bullshit that they do to get their bodies to come back around. But yeah, it's a lot.
It's just another level. Yeah, not even that. It's just like it's more. It's a business. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, like I literally had to go through. I had to wake up at 5 a.m. and then, you know, I wasn't done until like 1 p.m. So we went through like 5 meetings, practice. You know, like it was just so much. You know, and then
we all eat and exercise because it's what we want to do. But when you're an athlete, it's what you have to do. Like, at the end of the week, you have to weigh in and you have to keep your body fat and your muscle at a certain place to perform, or I guess you get cut or you get fired, I guess.
Yeah.
So being fired isn't fun.
No. But no, just to like finish that is pretty much our senior year. We kind of were looking at different paths, and we pretty much were already ready to do to go into a graduate program. And we were like,
so what do you guys both have a degree in?
Our bachelor's degree in health science.
Yeah, bachelor's in health science.
So you started university knowing that you were going to get do some kind of fitness.
Yeah.
In your life.
Physical therapy specifically. We actually started training when we were in our undergrad. Okay. And right around the time when we were getting ready to graduate with our bachelor's degree, we kind of had to make that decision where our transition period into getting into a DPT program. And that's when we were like, you know what? Like, we really like this. We really like the training. Let's try and take this on full throttle and see where it takes us.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we knew we could get to we could get to that level of knowledge and impact without going 6 figures in debt, you know, going into a school program. So that was kind of why we did it. And we wanted to create a business, and we wanted to create something that could really change people's lives, and we could get excited about doing it, you know. And that's kind of the steps we're making now.
So you guys are from Orlando originally?
Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach.
Well, Josh was from.
What about D-Land?
That's where my sister lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought.
Are you being funny with the D-Land?
Yes.
You're being funny.
Yes.
I thought you were.
D-Land.
I knew she was doing that on
just
purpose.
a little like Florida, Central Florida like humor. You know, everyone thinks it's like DeLand, but Kim's telling me that it's D-Land.
It is D-Land.
D-Land.
See, listen, everyone used to make fun of me whenever I said D-Land. They're like, what's D-Land? You mean DeLand? And I'm like, no, D-Land. Come to find out, the natives of D-Land actually pronounce it D-Land, and everyone else pronounces it DeLand.
I didn't know that.
Because it used to be spelled D-E-land.
Oh, okay.
And then they took the dash away and made it what
and
is
there's
now
your Central
called
Florida
DeLand.
history lesson.
There you go.
Today.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
So I'm laughing at everyone that laughs at me.
Josh, you're from Central Florida as well, then?
I'm from everywhere, man. Honestly, I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
What?
And then and I moved when I was 3. I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay. You did not.
Yeah.
That's where the loves of my life are from. Hanson.
Oh
my God.
Remind me to tell you a story.
How long did you live in Tulsa?
Like 8 years.
Oh my.
Yeah, 8, 9
See?
years.
That's why we were brought together.
Wait, let me mention something real quick now that she mentioned the Hansons. So there's sometimes whenever me and Stephanie go train in a certain area, there's these 2 guys that are over there that remind her of the Hansons.
Lord.
I just found out yesterday.
They're gay?
No, that they're 15.
That's why I like that.
So I was with Josh, and I was like, oh, there goes Stephanie's boyfriend. And Josh was like, what? And I was like,
not look 15.
And yeah, he was like, one of his clients who is, 16?
Yeah.
He was like, that's his friends. They're in high school. I was like, no, there's no way.
That sounds like Stephanie.
I've always had a taste for the younger men.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta tell her now. She can't.
So now you're not gonna let me look at them?
You can't look at them anymore, no.
That's funny.
Sorry, but okay, Milwaukee, Oklahoma.
Yeah, and then pretty much when I was, I think, 13, I moved to Daytona Beach, and then
that's where you met Kim.
Yeah, I met Kim when I was a junior. Yep, high school sweethearts.
So you're high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Cool.
So do you think that you both wanted to be on the same path, or you kind of like hit off of each other? Like, how did you end up on the exact same path?
Well, you know what's funny? I told you earlier that I wanted to be a singer, and it was kind of one of those goals where, like, I felt like it wasn't attainable. Like, I wanted to take like a more safer route as far as like my career went. So of course, what do they tell us growing up? You know, go to school, get a job, and that's how the story goes. But growing up, I was always the skinny girl in school. You know, they used to call me Skin and Bones. They had all of these different nicknames for me. And they didn't really realize how much it actually affected me as a person, because now I felt like I had to live up to what society says I should look like. Like, I'm not supposed to be the skinny girl. I'm supposed to be curvy and have this certain build. And that's when I actually started my fitness journey in high school. I had ended up getting into weightlifting. And kind of from there, like later on, like I realized I was searching, or my goals weren't, I was going for the wrong goal. Because I was going for more, and I don't think there's anything wrong for like having an aesthetic goal, but I was doing it for all of the wrong reasons. And short after, I ended up getting, having a heart condition. And I was diagnosed with postural hypotension, which is a drop in blood pressure whenever you stand. And at that point, like, I just wanted a goal to be able to squat. Like, I just wanted to be able to squat without passing out. And that's just kind of when, like, my mind, my frame, switched. My mind's, just a light switch went on, and I changed my mindset on why I was doing this. And I started doing it for the right reasons. And, of course, the aesthetics came afterwards, and I started putting on more muscle mass. But that's where I started my fitness journey. And then Josh originally, again, I think I changed my major, like, 6 times in college, but it got to a point where he originally was going after physical therapy, and I was like, this sounds interesting, like maybe I should do physical therapy. And then when he kind of started doing like the personal training, I was just like, you know what, let me get into this, because I know how it felt for me to get, like, when I first started on my journey, I want to be able to impact people the same way that I was able to be an impact on myself. Yeah. Right. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah. That's cool. I think we're at a point, too. I remember when I was at Daytona State College, and, you know, it was either me going to a university or me staying there in Daytona. And I knew I wanted to play football, so I had to persuade Kim to change her major instead of business, because I'm like, you can do business anytime. Like, business is nothing. Like, once you get something where you actually can get something out of it,
that's kind of like the basic bitch major. Like, if you don't know what else you want to do.
Business.
Basically.
So we kind of agreed to, she was gonna do physical therapy, and then that's when we moved to Orlando. You know, so I had a little influence, definitely, and leverage, because I didn't want to go there by myself to Orlando. So I was like, I need a roommate too.
Make the rent cheaper.
I'm telling you, so yeah.
I just always am asking her, like, how do you deal with him, like, 24/7, like, all the time, at work, at home?
That's true, because you guys are together pretty much all the time.
Yeah, we are.
He's like, yeah.
We are.
Yeah, I don't
but, you know, honestly, like, even when, this is what I've told Steph
and they're
before.
so good. That's something I need to comment on, that they're so good at the gym, like, being professional, like, not being like, you know, they just look like they work together. They don't bring personal things when they come into the gym. They don't bring personal things there.
And it's funny, like, if, like, Josh were to get, like, a new client to start with him or me, and then, like, later on, like, be like, oh, yeah, that's my fiance. What? That's your fiance? Like, you guys don't even talk to each other. Like, what's going on? Yeah. But, I mean, you know, we know we have a job to get done.
Well, that's probably the secret, is keeping it
professional.
Definitely, yeah. I think the secret with any relationship is obviously,
and they don't tread on each other. Like, if we're working out in the same room, you know, he's never correcting my form or telling me something. It's just Kim. You know, even though he might want to say something sometimes, maybe, I don't know, but.
What were you going to say? What were you going to say,
Josh? No, I was going to say that I think it's all about communication. I think that's why we've been together for a while, and why we work well together in a business setting. Or work environment, is because we just kind of know our boundaries, and we know the expectations of what we need to bring to the table for our athletes, and you know, any interactions that we encounter. So that's, we kind of keep those lines there, you know, and know how to play them.
And Josh, you proposed this year, right?
Last year.
Last year already?
Yeah. I think it was in October.
Right? Yeah.
October,
It was October.
Do you remember the date? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, last year October at the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it was cool. Awesome. Yeah,
that's cool. A great place too.
Yeah. It was a funny story. Yeah. But pretty much, like, I knew I was gonna. So we've been together for a long time. We've been together almost 9 years? Yeah. So, yeah, I just, you know, I never was, like, ready, you know, and I was like, one day, you know, I think she got to a point where she was like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like,
after 9 years.
And I think,
I
don't know. Yeah, something just happened, and I just was like, I just need to go ahead and do this, you know.
Just go ahead and do it. No biggie.
I should just do this now, like, before it gets too long. And, Yeah, and Grand Canyon was the place. Years, I was like, let's do it. 20. Yeah, I got to do it before the 10 mark.
So, yeah, he swore I knew, but I had no idea because, like he said, like I think I just got numb to the idea of getting married because in my mind and my heart, like I know this is my soulmate. Right. Whether a ring was on my finger or a piece of paper, like it just was what it was.
Let me get that back there, please.
Well, I have it.
I got the receipt in my wallet.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. That's awesome. So let's kind of switch a little bit more to like setting goals, like for the people listening who aren't on that journey yet. You know, getting into fitness or starting that wellness journey can kind of seems
like a daunting task.
Yeah. So what do you think? What advice would you give somebody who is just starting out? Like where
trying to take that first step.
What in your recommendation? And you guys both might have different answers to this question. Mm-hmm. You might have the same, but what would be the first step? Would it be okay? You need to hit the gym. You need to start walking, whatever it be, or starting
get your food
prep.
In order.
Yeah. What's your advice?
Yeah. So I think the first thing you have to do. I think there's 3 different things you have to do, and the first one is you have to get clarity on what fitness is to you, right? So I think you have to literally on paper put down what, fitness is for you. Like, what does that mean to be fit? What does it mean, to be healthy or whatever your goals may be? Write them all down. I think you need to have that, the aesthetic goals where how you want to look. Also you need to have performance-based goals where maybe you want to do a chin up, or maybe you want to do, a mud run or something tangible like that.
Goals.
Tangible things that you can control.
I want to be fit.
Yeah,
things that you can control.
Things that you can actually work towards too. Things you can do things with. Because I think when you get them out of your head and get them on paper, that's when they get a little bit more clear. That's when they become real. And once you do that, then you can create a roadmap to get there, right? And then obviously that's where the difficult part can kind of come in, because it's like, okay, I got all these things on paper. Now what do I do? And I think the second step is investing into yourself, having a coach. I think like for me and Kim, we've had mentors, pretty much kind of all through our journey. But right now we've invested into a business coach. And, what we've learned in the past couple months would have probably taken us, a couple years to get, right? Yourself. So I think if you can borrow someone's expertise and you can have that accountability, it's going to strive you to be the best you. It's going to get you there faster and more effective and safer as well.
That's actually, I like that point. And when we were prepping for this, and we didn't talk about it today, but Stephanie and I talked about it a week or so ago when we were kind of prepping, is you wanted to ask them, do they have their own trainers? How do they stay motivated? So you kind of answered that in that business, respect. So on the fitness side or wellness side, do you hold each other accountable, or does somebody else holding you accountable? Yeah. How does that work for you? And maybe to a point where you're fine, but like in my business, we're always saying that you should always have a coach, to take to the next step.
And especially if you spend all your day doing stuff at the gym, I bet it would be easy to lose track.
Oh yeah, really easy.
It is. That's one of the misconceptions. That's one of the misconceptions about trainers, that they work out every day and they it's tough. It's tough when you're working people out all day to get yourself to work out. It's one of the hardest things. And one thing that Kim was doing is we noticed that she was kind of falling off track of getting her workouts in. So we actually...
I ended up finding myself putting everything into my clients and kind of losing myself in the process. And that's kind of when I was like, Josh, I need a coach.
Yeah. And she asked me to do
it.
And I was like, you're not going to listen to me.
And I was like, I'll pay you. I was telling him, I was like, because...
You'll pay him with what?
Well, with
money or
no monetary. I was gonna literally put it in so that way he can put me on his calendar for a slot. And he was like, "You're not gonna listen to anything I have to tell you." Da 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 da. But one of his mentors, when we first started off, I ended up reaching out to him. He's in downtown, and he started coaching me. But then we had started having scheduling conflicts because we have the same schedule for the most part. But Absolutely. I'm a firm believer that even coaches need coaches.
You definitely need, I think there's always someone who's going to know a little bit more than you, you know, and once you get to the point where you feel like you don't need to know anything else, it's just like, that's when you stop growing, you know, like, so you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep, you know, reaching up to stand on the shoulders of the giants, you know, because that's the only way you're going to move up. And you have to invest into yourself. You have to look at education and, you know, coaching as an investment, not an expense.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
and that's hard for a lot of people. That's hard for a lot of people to understand.
Like,
and to be honest, it took me a while to understand it too. You know, but I guess the real question is, some people ask, how can I afford it? But the real question is, how can you not afford it? You know, because like, you're missing out on so much.
If it like literally is unattainable, there's so many great resources to be had. Even their Instagram is awesome. Like it shows you every different moves, break them down.
A little bit on that note. So you started with Kim private, just one-on-one. Correct?
We had about 3 sessions one-on-one, and then I started. Once we had the basics down, we got to know each other, and she taught me some verbiage as far as, you know, there's a lot of exercises and the names that go to them, they can be altered to do different things. So once you learn the basis of each exercise, you can alter it different ways. So that way, you know, you get a little acquainted with the gym.
What I'm saying is that there's also group training, right? So group training am I right in saying that it could cut the cost? Like if somebody's worried about the money?
The way that Stephanie first, initially, she started in a semi-private training.
Gotcha.
But I just had her one-on-one to start with, just so I could make sure she was comfortable before I put her in that environment. But basically with the semi-private training, it does cut the cost in half as opposed to a one-on-one training session. Because
I think maybe some people might not think about that. So that's why I bring...
I like it because it's helped me meet friends. It helped me meet people that are on the same page as me. And it puts you in a good, positive environment with other people that are willing to pay money to... be healthy.
Okay, so you went through your first 2. Mm-hmm. What was your? I think.
Yeah. So the last one, and we're kind of like talking about it a little bit, is it's finding, you know, like, so sometimes people get caught up in trying to figure out the best program or the best diet or the best coach or the best, you know, and they end up spending all this time and they end up doing nothing because it's so many things. There's so many options. It's overwhelming, and you get a concept called the paralysis by analysis. So you analyze so many things and you end up doing nothing. You know, so I think this third step is literally doing something. You know, like, and I think getting on some type of program. And one thing that we created on our website, aonfit.com, is we have a couple different programs, a couple different workout templates that you can actually use for free and just get started. You know, doing a little bit of something is better than doing nothing. And you can actually go a long way with not knowing what you're doing too sometimes, you know, but I think, you know, you get to a point where, you know, you want to be the best version of you, and that's going to be, you know, you got to have some skin in the game. You got to invest some money into it. You have to invest your time into it. But if that's not a possibility now, you know, I think you have to do something. And I think that's a great resource to take advantage of and get you moving in the right direction.
I agree. I think slowly increasing your activity every single day, just having a goal to be 1% better than you were yesterday is going to move you in the right direction. 100%.
You can't jump in. For most people, you can't just, you know, cold turkey jump in.
No,
I think you have to build up.
There's so many people that come to us too, and they're like, I want to work out 7 days a week. I'm going to...
That's how I was when I met you.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, hold up. Yeah. Slow your horses real quick. Like, you don't need all of that to start off, and you're just going to overwhelm yourself.
Yes.
So, just...
That's how I was for a really long time. I think about a month or 2 ago, we had a heart-to-heart conversation where I said to her, I feel like this is my second job. Like, literally, I go to work for 8 hours, and then I come here every single day, and I'm exhausted. And that's when I kind of pulled back from the gym a little bit. And, you know, it's not helping me get towards my goal, but overall, it's helping me, mentally.
It is. I think mentally is where it starts, you know. You're never going to just keep dropping, keep getting strong. There's going to be periods where, you know, you stay stagnant, but I think progress is being able to maintain the progress you've had, right? Like, you know, some people kind of beat themselves up. They've lost this weight, and now they're kind of stuck. But that's progress because you're able to now maintain this new weight, this new body fat, this new version of yourself. So I think you gotta always find.
And it feels so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels so great. Sometimes I just go like to the gym and I don't want to be there, and I drag my ass there. And I like just sit and look at myself in the mirror.
Or send me a text message.
Or send you a text message like, tired AF, I don't want to be here.
Make me go.
Yeah.
But I always feel so good afterwards.
Yeah, it's always the after effect. And it's like the only thing that's going to really spark motivation is action. And that's why I tell everyone, like, how do I get motivated? Like, just do it. Mm-hmm. Like, literally just drag yourself there and just do it. Yeah, and the minute you start moving, you're going to feel so motivated and you're not going to want to stop.
I think that's true. I think, like, my mindset is always a little bit different coming out of the gym than when going in. Yep. Like after, day of work, whatever's going on, going there and then coming out, it's always a little bit different, so.
He had a few sessions with a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
At the Celebration Gym.
Yeah. And personal training is such a kind of, the level of entry or the ease to entry is so easy. I mean, you could take a certification tomorrow and become a personal trainer, and so personal trainers can have a bad rap. So I think finding a good trainer is, it's just going to do so much for you.
So that's a good topic to talk about then. So what do you look for? Like, how do you know when you're shopping for a personal trainer? How do you know, like, because some people advertise, I'll come to you. Like, I've seen people, I've been in an Uber ride before, and he's claiming he's a personal trainer, and he'll come here to the apartment complex and train me or whatever.
Before I found Kim.
Yeah. So, like,
people wanted to come
your
here.
Uber driver's your trainer.
Yeah.
So what do you look for when you're looking for a personal trainer? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I think just to, like, touch on what you said, I think a really great trainer is all in on it. It's not, like, I mean, I guess I can kind of backtrack on that a little bit, but I think a great trainer is all in with it. Like, it's not just something that's for fun. It's not a hobby. It's actually a career. It's something that, like, they want to make a living from, and they take seriously in their professional.
In their personal life as well, not just their job.
It's like they live by what they're speaking as well. A couple more things that creates a great trainer is, I think that they are not necessarily a dictator, but more of a problem solver. Someone who actually is like a tour guide, someone who can look at the information that you're giving them, look at your struggles, and give you some different routes. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this route might be fast, but there might be a couple obstacles in the way. This route could be another option. All of these routes will take you to the goal. You have to choose which one you think you can stay consistent with.
Yeah, which one's going to work better for you.
Yeah, and I think, a great trainer is going to always be investing. They're going to always be investing in themselves. They're always going to be learning. They're always going to be growing. They're always going to be connecting with other great trainers. And
so what kind of certifications? Like, should I be asking them, okay, what certifications do you have? That type of thing.
I would say the certifications.
I think a better question to ask a personal trainer is what have they invested in as far as their studies go? Like, are they attending seminars? Do they have any outside of the normal, certified personal training certification? If they have any other certifications outside of that, is going to be super important to see if they're investing in themselves to further their education.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's one necessarily.
The CPT certification, that's a tricky one to say.
I mean, it's kind of like a high school diploma almost. Like, it's kind of like, okay, you went to this IB school and you went to this school. Okay. I think it's just the interaction. I think you have to. It's kind of hard to distinguish, from the outside. I think you have to go in and kind of talk with them, and not only you need to see the results too. Like, what have they done? Where what types of lives have they changed? And I think that's really the key. You have to have that social proof of that you know what you're doing. But I don't really think the certification is too big of a concern. They should be certified for sure. But most, honestly, like, since I've been training for 5 years, I haven't had one person ask me what my certification was, So
me either.
When I met Kim, she told me a little bit about your program at UCF. But to me, it was more about the verbiage, like the things that she would say when we worked out. Because I have a knee issue, so she always is picking things that are not going to aggravate my knee. So just hearing the way she sets up my workout as far as like what we do, it all has like a method to it. So that shows me that she's definitely
method to the madness.
Yeah. And here's one thing that is just really a pet peeve of mine. I think a great trainer has a plan.
Yeah.
Like I would say like that's probably like one of the most important things. Have a plan. You probably 90% of the trainers that you'll see in the gym setting or wherever it may be is literally just going off the dome, and they let's do that one. Let's do that one. That. Like, so I think when if you can ask your trainer, hey, what's our plan for the next 3 months? What's our plan for the next 6 months? And why is this? And why do you think we should do this over this? I think that's something that will challenge your trainer to articulate. Yeah. The methods that they're using.
Me all the time. She asks me
all and it makes a trainer better too, because they should be able to tell you why
this dead bug than that dead bug.
They should be able to tell you why.
Because I be watching too many YouTube videos and Instagram things.
Yep. No, I definitely ask questions.
I think having a plan.
And I think you can kind of tell when someone's giving you fluff, right? For the most part. But a great trainer is also one that'll be like, you know what? I don't have that answer for you, but I'm gonna find it for you, instead of just giving you whatever answer sounds like it could be right. And I think that's super important as well.
Yeah. And it all comes at different layers, right? Like, because there's some people that could be great trainers and they're just getting started, but they're willing to learn, they're willing to put in the work.
I always think that, like, you guys are so young, and I always see you have a lot of clients that are like 50 plus, and I'm like, that's awesome that they like trust you guys.
Yeah.
They're willing to trust someone younger than them to say like you have the knowledge and to lead me in the right direction.
That is amazing. It really is. And sometimes I think about that, but I think we are experts at our own thing, because most of our clients are really successful too. If you're able to pay $300, $400, $500, $600 a month, like, you're obviously doing something good, or something well. And I think we all can learn from each other. You're going to be good at what you put your time into, and I think that's kind of, and I think a very intelligent person understands that, and they know that, hey, look, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to read about it. Like, just tell me what I need to do. Explain to me why I need to do it. Show me how I can stay consistent with this and sustain it, and then I'll do it. Same reason, like, we're doing like business coaching and stuff like that. It's like, we don't know. Like, we're willing to put in the work to learn, but like, can you help us learn faster? Right. Like, can you help us get there faster? And that's really the key for us. And just like, I guess, progressing with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about food prep, which I think for me is a big part of my wellness journey, and maintaining weight and losing weight is food prep, because if you don't have that in place for your busy life, then you're gonna
what
fail.
Do they say? If you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail, or something.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things with food prepping is it can sound really complicated, like food prep, like what do I do? How do I do this? And sometimes we overcomplicate the process and we end up not doing it at all. When really, like, there's 3 steps that I think you should follow is, first, cooking frequency is going to be number 1. Like, figure out a day that you're going to prep your meals, whether that be 2 times a week, once a week, but schedule that in your schedule based on your work schedule, school schedule, whatever you have going on. And that's going to be like your first step to understanding, like, okay, this is a day that I'm going to dedicate to food prepping. And then literally just choose 2 protein options, 2 carb options, 2 veggie options, and then maybe 2 healthy snacks. And then all you do is cook your food the same way you would cook it. Like, if you were cooking every single night, you're just cooking in a bulk and then just packing it away in Tupperware. Like, it's really that simple.
Yep.
It's that simple. And I think, being proactive is much better than being reactive. Because if you don't have those foods, like, ready for you to just eat, like, you're going to end up on your way home. You're going to just stop at Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, or whatever it is, because you have had this long day at work. You don't have the energy to come home and cook. So what are you going to end up doing? Well, you know what? I really don't feel like cooking. Let me just grab something, as opposed to already having it prepared for you at home. You know?
Yeah. I think a lot of times too is many people look at like these athletes or people who have just, you know, your dream body or whatever it is, and they think like, damn, they have so much willpower.
Those people have
they're
chefs.
so focused. So like, dude, like they.
Stephanie, tell it. They have chefs.
You know, like their environment is.
I always say that. I was like, why is Rob Kardashian still fat? He has endless amounts of. He could have anything he wanted. A personal trainer 24/7, a chef 24/7.
But hey, that's like the exterior though, right? Because, you know, that's what society says. Society says he's fat when really he probably is
honestly,
healthy,
I think that, I guess starting off, I used to kind of look at people and be like, man, why don't you, like, you know, lose some weight? Or why don't you do this? Why are you eating that? You know, I think that I got to a point now just talking with a lot of people and working with a lot of people where, you know, like, what I want for you is not... It doesn't matter, you know. It's about what you want from yourself, you know. So if you're okay, if you're happy, if you're like loving life, like who am I to tell you like, no, you need to stop having fun and you need to do this. You need to come to the gym, and you know. So whenever you're like, you make in your mind like, yo, I'm ready to see some changes. I'm tired of this.
You have to be ready.
Then you'll do it, you know. But I don't think nobody can get you there. I think you have to just decide that this is something you want, and if you don't want it, that's fine. You know, like, that's perfectly fine. So when, you know, I think you have to be real with yourself about that. I think
I think there's no true image to what healthy looks like, right? Like, you can see someone, you know, small, slim, and then someone that's like the same height as them, 60 pounds up, and that 60 pound up person can outrun that small person. Mm-hmm. So there's no real image of what healthy should look like. Like, you know what a healthier you is. Like, I remember, like, when I was skinny, of course, I was 80 pounds soaking wet. Like, I remember people used to tell me, like, I just want to feed you. I just want, like, I'm eating. Like, don't tell me you want to feed me. I'm eating. But it's like, you know,
and you were skinny,
have
but
no,
you didn't feel healthy.
I didn't feel healthy. I didn't. But you have no right to tell me how I'm supposed to look, you know?
Yeah. I think it's just being the best version of you. You know what I mean? Just finding that out. And it takes some time, but you got to be willing. You got to want it, and you got to, obviously, you know, just invest your time, money, energy into it to figure out how to get there.
So you guys have been doing with your clients like these Warrior Dash, like mud run type events.
And Stephanie's going to the next one.
I think I can be a cheerleader.
She's gonna
like, I really want to do it, but I just don't want to bust my knee, man.
You walk around certain obstacles. Well, anyways, the mud runs.
So where are these at? These are like near Orlando?
Yeah, they're in Central Florida for the most part, yeah.
So when is the next one?
The next one is going to be in November.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the Savage Race, which is one of the harder ones.
So you got some time to get ready.
But we truly, truly love doing these races with our clients because it's just like a way to empower yourself, like work towards.
And that's really
something.
why I want to do it, because I want to be part of your group, and I want to like
you're gonna
do the fun workouts that you guys do, and take a picture, like. And matching t-shirts.
Well, and like our clients, they'll see all of the obstacle courses online, and they're like, I want to get past that one. Yeah. I want to make sure I do that one. And like one of our athletes, he was never able to pull himself out of a pool before. Like he didn't have the strength to just pull himself out of the pool. And there was an obstacle at one of the first races that we did where you had to swim through the lake, and there was like a floating platform on the lake.
Get yourself up on it.
Like, he had, like, that flashback. Like, am I going to be able to pull myself up over this thing? And he was able to do it, and it was a really emotional moment for him. And I think that's, like, the beauty of it is, like, just feeling empowered. Like, I wasn't able to do this. And that's look awesome. At me. And Stephanie has
anyone that knows me now for a while knows that I would never, ever do anything like that. But I think this is part of my new, like, now that I'm into fitness and into this, I think it would be the cherry on top of what I've been working so hard at.
But you got guns
just to
now.
try. I do.
She does. But
well,
and that's like what there was one. there's this one exercise called bear hold, which works you up to a bear crawl. And when I first had Stephanie do it, I think you were able to hold it for like 5 seconds, maybe, if even that. And she would get so frustrated, and she's like, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, it's okay, let's just keep trying. And now, like, she's doing laps around the room doing bear crawls like it's nothing.
With a sled.
She's even pulled a sled of weight doing her bear crawls. Shoot. And I mean, I think that's the beauty in it.
Yeah, I think that's what life's about, right? Being able to do things you thought you couldn't do. You know, like, I think there's no limitations on what you can do. It's just, you know, only thing stopping you is just the story or the thoughts, the limitations that you have created for yourself. So that's one of the best things about what we do is being able to see that and being able to help propel that, you know. So that's really the big thing with, like, we didn't start the races or nothing. Like, we just had people, and, you know, like, that's kind of what the community does when you put amazing people together. Things just organically happen, and that's what happened. And you know, we haven't done it. We haven't like, scheduled one.
Like, they're like, all right, we're doing this one next. All right, we're gonna do that one next.
All right, and let's get ready for it.
Like, we literally just, like, we came across the finish line, and everyone's on their phone like, oh,
when's the next one?
There's one in November coming up, and we're like, all right, let's do it.
It's such a fun and amazing experience, you know, to be with some people who, you know, struggle with you, sweat with you.
And it's not to say you don't have to, you know, get over every single obstacle, because some people weren't able to get over every single obstacle, but to just challenge yourself in a way that you wouldn't.
So you can walk around.
Yes, you can walk around. You can walk around.
As long as you get to that finish line, that's all that matters.
And I think when we did the first one, I think a lot of our athletes had the same concern that Stephanie has, is like, I'm going to be left in the back. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this. No. Like, there's no man left behind. Like, someone is going to be...
I've always had that fear, because I've always been, like... been the fat kid, and always been the weak link in gym class. So, because I had asthma growing up, so I was always, like, in the back with my inhaler, like... So, I just have fears about group activities like that.
Yeah.
False evidence
Physical
appearing
group activities.
Real. That's what it is.
Well, I think that, you know... wellness for people who don't, especially like later in life, if you don't like grow up with wellness, or that's not something you're interested in the beginning, I think that it can be intimidating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so one of the things that I want to talk about to kind of wrap things up, because we're going to plug your social media too, is that I think that especially your Instagram, because everyone's really focused on Instagram, I think your Instagram is extremely approachable, and I have to give you guys kudos for that. And I don't know if that's, like, I'm sure you've had conversations, okay, how do we want to approach our Instagram and how do we want to grow our brand? Because honestly, you're, like, at the end of the day, you're growing a brand. And I think you're doing an amazing job growing your brand on Instagram.
Thank you.
Because I'm following you now for my personal account. Of course, Orlando Out of Context is following you as well. But I've been following you, for the past 6 weeks or so. And I don't consume every piece of content, but the content that I do is... I'm impressed with how approachable it is, because we were talking earlier today is, you know, a lot of these, I don't follow any other personal trainer accounts, but I've seen them, and they're not approachable, or they show things that...
It's all these big-butted, like, 80-pack men, like, steroided up... surgeries to their ass.
That can be intimidating.
And that's not what...
Pretending they got that all at the gym.
And that's not what AOM Fit is at all, which I give you guys kudos to making it extremely approachable and, you know, friendly.
Yeah.
So tell me about, like, what was your process with, okay, we're going to get into this Instagram. Was that part of your, like, business coach, you know, getting you into it, or was that like a conscious decision? Because even Stephanie said there was kind of, you guys seem to make a decision, okay, we're going to start building this social media up or pump up our social media.
I think we knew we wanted to touch more people outside of Orlando, and the only way for us to do that was via social media. Like, there's millions of people that could benefit from the information that we're putting out there, but it's only 2 of us, right? So we can only get so far with as many people within our demographics. So I think that was like one of the big deciding factors. Like, you know what? Like, let's put this stuff out there. Let's share it to the world, and whoever gets it, like, you know, I hope they like it. I hope they can benefit from it in
Oh my gosh, I love the fart box video. That's my favorite one. You need to go look at that. Yeah. It's about strengthening your fart box.
Yeah. For us, we want our clientele is people who are a little bit intimidated with working out. People who need it the most. Like, you know, they want to do it, but they're not sure how to. They're not sure how to get started. You know, it doesn't seem fun. It seems dreadful, or, you know. So we want to make it approachable. We want to make it easy to get into. We want to make it, fun. You know, like your third place, you know, like the place that you want to go to. You know what I mean? Like,
your third home.
Third place.
Which is why we've worked so hard to kind of build this community with everyone. Which, like Stephanie said, like she enjoys being in that semi-private setting because she's meeting other people that are on this same path with her, have the same goals. Like, she's not in it alone. There's only so much I can show her and do for her, but to see other people that are doing it with you, it's you know, it's super helpful.
Cool, and that's our main goal, is to empower people, you know, through enthusiasm and, you know, fun, excitement. Like, you know, I think we don't take ourselves that serious. Like, we try to make this stuff fun, you know, because if you can do that, people want to do it. You know, people want to do it, and I think it's gonna benefit their life. Like,
just take the signs and
why
make it
not?
Fun.
You know.
All right, so go ahead, and what is your Instagram account?
So our Instagram is...
I always get it wrong.
It's AOMFit. So Instagram.com/AOMFit. And we do a lot of stuff on Facebook as well, on our Facebook page, and that is Facebook.com/AOMFitness. And as far as like our programming and, like, you know, the free content that we have, so we have a couple free programs that you can do, 30-day programs, 10 workouts in 10 minutes, and a few different resources. That is going to be on our website, AOMFit.com.
All right, cool.
And if you guys live in Orlando, I mean, and you're even having the inkling about wanting to do this, just look them up. They're amazing. They just become a big part of my life, and I can't even say enough good things about these two. I mean, it's not just, you know, like a business to them. You know, they really, like, I've been struggling a lot the past couple months, like trying to figure out how to get my body to respond and do the things that I want it to do. And I just know that Kim goes home and worries about it. Even when we're not together, I know she's thinking about me and putting effort and thoughts into me, and it just means the world. So if you want that personal experience, you know, just go check out their website, check out their YouTube. You can kind of get a feel for their personalities, and just check them out because they're amazing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us,
Thanks
guys.
for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Our first guests. So
awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next time. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Orlando Out of Context, and visit our website at orlandooutofcontext.com. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
See you.